This week on the WriterCon podcast.
I think the biggest thing for me is stick with it. I think that's my best advice. If you find yourself in a writer's block, like read, watch movies, listen to music, just get inspiration any way you can.
Welcome to WriterCon, a gathering place for writers to share their knowledge about writing and the writing world. Do you have a desire to write? Every successful writer started with their first book. All it takes is determination and knowledge, and WriterCon can provide that knowledge. Your hosts are #1 national best-selling writer William Bernhardt, author of more than 60 books, including The Superman Wars, and Lara Bernhardt, award-winning author of the Wantland Files series and Shadow of the Taj.
Thank you, Jesse Ulrich. Hello there, writers. Thanks for joining us. All right, last time we reviewed and graded our predictions for 2025, and I think we scored pretty well overall. But I may be a less than impartial grader. The best you can do with a business as unpredictable as this one. Now it's time to make our predictions for the year to come, or maybe even beyond that. Jesse, let's start with you. Have you got a prediction for us?
I do, and I don't know if this one will actually come true this year, but it is a prediction for the future, which is that there is going to be, just like how like vinyl's making a comeback and vintage, whatever things are making a comeback, there is going to be a turn away from AI built tools back towards and of course they'll charge extra for this, a more human-centric way of doing things. Whether it's,
I hope you're right.
Human editors, whether it's human translators, whether it's whatever, having a human do it is going to become cool.
That would be cool. I have read that sales of print books are increasing, and of course, New York is hoping that Gen Z will do for print books what they did for vinyl records, which could happen. Lara, how about you? What's your prediction?
I hope that's the case. I think we will continue to see reader interest in more escapist books this year. I think that the more serious and literary works are probably going to take a back seat. I find that when we're dealing with things in the real world that already feel like too much, we need something lighter when we turn to books, something to help us feel better.
Yeah, I think you're right. I got two. The one of them is so uncontroversial, I'll just mention it in passing. AI slop books will become more of and I hope they're not the escapist literature that you're talking about, Lara, but I mean, they already exist, but I think it's going to become much bigger. I mean, I remember when people were saying, who's going to buy a digital book that costs 99 cents? It's obviously, except that actually turned out to be the cool way to go, and people made fortunes because there are apparently some people who just like to read, and that's not a bad thing. Like to read books in a certain genre, and all other things being equal, 99 cents is better than $10. And similarly, I don't think most people buying books online even look at or care about the publisher. I don't think they care. Well, some will similarly not care whether it was written by a human or not. Just give me another book. I hope I'm wrong, but there's my prediction. It's already happening in music, right? There are AI songs coming up in Spotify streams.
Yeah, but Spotify is pushing those towards the audience. It's not like people are searching for them. So
why? What's their motive? Are they less expensive?
Yeah, they don't have to pay rights to artists. And so Spotify puts their AI tracks at the end of people's playlists. And so that they automatically get plays. And then the people might add them to their favorites or whatever. And so every time that's played, Spotify doesn't have to pay anybody.
I think we're going to see a pushback on this. Yeah. I really do. I think people start to...
Do not anger music people. They are precisionists.
I think we'll get some pushback, if not outrage. Like Jesse's saying, people are going to start to clamor for actual human-made art. Unless it's a drawing by, say, a penguin. I would take a penguin painting. I'd be okay with that. But it's still made by a real being.
Okay, fingers crossed. And my other production has to do with what some people now call legacy media, or to put it another way, the way we used to promote books, appearing on the morning show or Good Morning America or stuff like that, which has always been outside the grasp of most writers, but was often cited as an appealing reason to try for traditional publishing. But the truth is now so few writers, even in traditional publishing, can get on, and it's not that effective anyway. I'm going to play the old man now and say I remember when talk shows would run 90 minutes, and sometimes at night, sometimes in the afternoon, and authors would often appear in the last segment, the very last one, but they had to have something that last segment. But that just so rarely happens, and even and back then that would be an almost guarantee your book's going to sell well. Now it is not. People get on even like book club chats and Good Morning America and whatnot, and the book still doesn't take off. But what is working is the new media, obviously TikTok, Book Talk, and new ways the Gen Z crowd have come up with promoting books, which seem to be much more effective, at least in today's world. So I think we'll see a lot more of that and a lot less people chasing publishers for legacy media. All right, enough of that. Let's turn to our interview. Our interview today is with Heather Snodgrass. Heather Snodgrass. Heather has written a wonderful book called A Love Letter to Reading, which has really a unique premise. Her core idea being about the relationship between reading and music and how one can reinforce one another, why people who enjoy one in their spare time often enjoy the other. Really a different take that I thought was interesting. So we will talk to Heather later, but first, the news. News story number one. This has to do with Spotify, but fortunately, it is not about AI slop music. It's about the Spotify Audiobooks program, which is now offering writers like you and me opportunities to write for them. So word of explanation, the Spotify Audiobooks Selects series is relatively new, and it's offering indie authors professional audio production, payment, promotion, distribution to their listeners around the world. Twice a year, they're going to request manuscripts built around a specific theme. And right now, they've got a specific call for a specific theme. I should first make clear that when we're talking about these audiobooks, they're not just a guy reading your manuscript. At least in some cases, these are fully blown dramatized productions, like old radio dramas with actors and people playing parts and cool stuff like that. So there's a call out now. Go to the Spotify Audiobooks website and you can find it. They're asking for basically what they're calling swoon-worthy tropes, meaning romances. Specific categories they mention are enemies to lovers, because that happens a lot in real life. Maybe it does. I don't know. Grumpy/sunshine. I don't even know what that means. Fake marriage, falling in love with your sibling's best friend, and any of your juicy favorites. You send them your manuscript and they'll get back to you, although they do say no erotica or children's content. That's the opposite ends of the same spectrum, but don't do it, okay? Lara, can you see yourself writing for something like this?
I don't. I love the idea. I think this sounds super fun. I don't write romance, which
You're
know.
waiting for the next theme then.
So maybe another theme. But my other concern is that I don't tend to write short things very well. It just turns into a novel anytime I try to write something shorter. So I'm looking at that word count.
Short stories are hard. Yeah.
It sounds appealing because it sounds like something that you could write very quickly. And then how cool would it be to be on Spotify with this whole production of your work? I love the idea of it, but I'll keep an eye on it. If it came up, if there was like a supernatural suspense theme, I might think about hopping in.
Maybe
I thought I was going to
it.
try Kindle Vella for a while and write pieces of short stories that way. So I could maybe take an idea I had for that and see if I can write that in.
Jesse, how about you? You listen to podcasts, you listen to audiobooks. Would you listen to something like this?
I would. I mean, it's definitely shorter than the size of books I normally read, but I do like the idea of it being like a sort of novella continuing sort of story, like you were talking about, like old time radio shows. Like that would be a really, really cool thing to listen to. Also Spotify, if you're listening and you need editors, give me a call. This sounds fun.
Well, I remember when Audible started doing direct to audiobook stories, but they were extending those offers, I think, to more traditional legacy authors, people who already had bigger readership. And so this is kind of nice that they're allowing more independent writers to try their hand.
Specifically targeting indie writers. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't know those audiobook short stories have ever done particularly well, but here the feeling may be that if we dramatize it, if we make it like a show, except you can close your eyes or drive or ride on the subway or whatever, maybe that'll make it more popular. And I should add, FYI, if you like this idea, anyone out there, but are bummed by the restriction against erotica, go someplace else. Specifically, there's a company called Quinn that is doing audiobooks that are definitely spicier. And not only are they fully dramatized, they have a really impressive roster of A-list actors who are working for them, like people you've seen on television. So there's just a little tip from Bill to you. All right, news story number 2. AI is now deciding what books you read. Okay, maybe that's a little bit much, but I'm trying to get your attention because you probably thought AI was just secretly writing the books you read, but now it appears that it's being used to select books as well. It was revealed just last week as we record this that a company called Trinity has developed an AI platform that basically sifts through the slush pile for you. And every manuscript, every publisher has one, tall stacks of manuscripts. And even, even when they require agented submissions, they still have a big pile of stuff. And this AI platform is supposed to go through it and make recommendations about what publishers should publish and what they should not. All right, I'll stop talking. Jesse. Even when they use agents as gatekeepers, publishing houses still theoretically have to read at least a little part of the proposals. Does this seem like a viable way to save time and money and still pick books that'll sell?
I guess my question is, why else are you doing this job? Like,
if you don't want to read,
why'd you go into this career if you didn't actually want to read manuscripts and see if like it's an author who you can connect with, an editor you like, and make it good? And any time someone uses one of these AI filtering things, people figure out what that filter is looking for and just start, just like with the book titles, aiming at that, and then a human's gonna have to go in and fix it anyway. So like this isn't gonna work over time. It just isn't.
Very true. Lara, how about you? Where do you see this going?
This is right hand in hand with our predictions that people continue to try to use AI to save time, to save money. And Jesse nailed it. It really isn't going to actually result in anything good for the people who are trying to use it or for the people who want the next great book. We are looking for a great experience. And if somebody is just writing to try to game algorithms, whether it be on Amazon, in their title, in their book proposal, or their few pages that they're submitting, I just don't think it's going to end well. Can we please stop using AI to replace art, as Jesse has asked in the past? I'm 100% with him on this.
Yeah, but if it saves the money.
But here's the thing: does it?
Does it? If
we
no,
don't actually know that it actually helps in any way.
Hmm.
They think it's saving money because in the short term, they're maybe paying somebody less, but eventually they're going to start selling less because people don't want to read crap.
Trash.
They don't want to listen to crap. They don't want to look at crap, and they don't want to read crap.
Right.
Might also help a lot of assistants, I think, in New York who are required to come in on Saturdays and go through the slush pile, whether they like it or not, because they're the low person on the telephone, on the totem pole.
As Jesse asked, isn't that why you went into the business, though? Like, isn't that what you wanted to do, was to go in and read manuscripts and be a part of creating excellent books?
Reading, yes. Reading proposals, I'm not so sure, but maybe. All right, let's move on to Craft Corner. Craft Corner this time is from friend of the podcast, Marty Ludlum, who is, of course, the author of the disco-themed mystery At First I Was Afraid, which is getting a sequel in just a few months. He has talked about eliminating useless words from your writing before, and this time he's taking a deep dive into the word some. Take it away, Marty.
Craft Corner. This is Bad Words with Marty. Today, our bad word is some. About me, my first novel, At First I Was Afraid, available from Babylon Books, available everywhere books are sold. Second one in the series, She Works Hard for the Money. There's a disco theme here. It's going to be released sometime this spring. Check my website for hints about the book cover and all those kind of details, ludlumbooks.net. Our series here focuses on words that are weak, ineffective, terrible writing. Today's villain is some. Dictionary definition, an unspecified or unknown amount of things. Not helpful. It's really not an answer. And this applies equally to all of some's cousins, someone, somewhere, sometime, something. Vague, vague, vague. Some really isn't an answer. My favorite Star Wars character, K2SO from Rogue One, gives a reply. I find that answer vague and unconvincing. Some is exactly that way. Vague and unconvincing. I'm with Sheriff's Office. How many drinks have you had? Some. Trust me, you're going to jail. That's not an answer. At the ER, doctor says, hey, how many of these pills did you take? Some. Yeah, that doesn't help anyone. Or the coroner's on the witness stand. How much poison was in the victim's blood? Some. Yeah, that doesn't help anybody. It's not an answer. Or maybe you're having a serious talk with your significant other. Do you love me? Some. Believe me, that's not the end of the conversation. It might be the end of other things, but it's not the end of the conversation. You need to be definite. Draw the reader into your story. So here's a simple example. You invited every kid in town to your birthday party. How many kids showed up? Some. Very bland. Doesn't say anything. How about instead? How many kids showed up? 325. That answer automatically leads you to further discussion of this story. How did you have a birthday party with that many kids? You can almost hear them in the background. Or instead, how many kids showed up to your birthday party? 2. Well, 1 kid and his mom. That also leads you to another story. Right? Some doesn't do either of those. Some. Terrible writing. Use detail. Make your writing come alive. you have any questions, be sure to contact me at Marty Ludlum, the writer, at Gmail. If not, in part 2, we talk about exceptions to when it's okay to use some for your writing. Until next time.
Thank you, Marty Ludlum. And remember, his new book, At First I Was Afraid, is on sale now. All right, now let's talk to Heather Snodgrass. Heather Snodgrass, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I like this show a lot. I enjoy listening to it.
Yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Well, then you already know what my first question is going to be. If you could offer writers one piece of advice, what would it be?
I think the biggest thing for me is stick with it. I think that's my best advice. If you find yourself in a writer's block, like read, watch movies, listen to music, just get inspiration any way you can.
I think you're right. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to get into talking about your book because this is just not only very unique, but fascinating. It's unique. It involves music. It obviously involves words. It's a thriller, basically, but one that incorporates music in a fascinating way, which you would never get from the title, which is A Love Letter to Reading, right?
Right.
How did you come up with this?
The whole concept, it's kind of been brewing for some time. It really came together through pieces. So the main character, the assassin, so it follows Ariana/Scorpion, her code name is Scorpion, through a series of events that basically make her reconcile her life, the way she's been living. So she's raised as an assassin. For her personally, it's a little bit of a personal thing to just kind of choreograph your life with like sound playlists and soundtracks and stuff like that. So that part was a very personal thing. So that was the idea for her. The story itself was just sort of a what if, and then what if led to another what if, and then another what if, and it just sort of came together through a bunch of what if questions.
It's so interesting. It kind of sounds like music is almost like a character, like it's almost another character in the book. Is that intentional? Did you mean for that to happen? Or is that one of those things that just kind of developed for you?
Yeah, it was definitely intentional for me. It's like a huge pillar in my life, I would say.
Okay.
So very intentional for that.
Does the book have an official soundtrack?
Or unofficial.
Or unofficial soundtrack?
It does. It does on. Yeah. We'll say unofficial. So on Spotify, I actually have a whole playlist built. It's almost 100 hours of a playlist, but it's that way because as you read the book, you'll understand. But it's a Scorpion's playlist.
I'm gonna go find it. You said it's on Spotify.
Yeah, it is. So we just released the second edition of the book, and in the front it has a QR code that'll take people to that playlist.
Okay, fantastic. And for our readers, is there a title? Is there an easy way to find it?
It is just Scorpion's playlist. The best way I would say to find it probably is through my site. I do have it linked up on my website, which is authorheathersnodgrass.com.
Okay.
And so there's a couple places to kind of find your way on it. So
very cool. Well, okay. How'd you come up with the song? Or how'd you come up with the playlist? Was there something for each chapter, or how did that develop for you?
Yeah. So, for one thing, a lot of my chapters, a lot of people don't notice, but a lot of my chapters are actually share a song title. So they're titled sort of after a song. I hate saying they're titled after a song just because then people think that that's going to be a theme in the chapter, and it's not necessarily the case. However, they do share song titles. So the playlist itself started to form around that, but a lot of it is either music that I listened to while I was writing, or it's music that I listen to coming up. And so since Ariana is about my age, it's songs that influenced my life, so I incorporated it into her life as well. So, yeah.
I'm just going to jump in because I know some of our listeners are really interested in the writing process. I read somewhere that you even have a different playlist for every stage of the writing process. Is that correct?
It's pretty correct. I try to make a playlist for each character first, and then I kind of, and it really depends on how I would define that character. So each one is a little bit different in like their upbringing, I would say. So, excuse me. So I would start by taking songs that maybe the character was raised with or influential in their lives, and I would build a playlist around that. And then I would sort of develop the characters by listening to that music and kind of understanding where they developed themselves.
Yeah,
fascinating. Kind of get into their psyche by the type of music that they like listening to.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're using music to create a stronger bond between reader and writer, which of course is what every writer wants to do.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It takes skill, and it looks like you've found a new pathway to it.
I hope so. That would be ideal for me if that were true. So I hope that.
Where are you in the music world? Do you play an instrument or write
you know,
music on GarageBand or whatever?
My dad is actually a musician. I've dabbled. I've learned a lot of different instruments, but I'm not good enough to say I play anything specifically. I was more of the show choir kid in school because I was a theater kid. So for me, it's all about like musicals and stuff like that is the start of it. And then, like I said, my dad's a musician. He kind of plays almost everything. He can usually play something by ear after hearing it once or twice. So very talented guy.
Well, we love musical. Actually, my undergraduate degree is musical theater performance. So yeah, we love it. We just saw Merrily We Roll Along last night. That was super fun.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Talking about awesome. Composers and how music impacts life. Yeah.
Let's talk about the writing process a little bit. We know you've got different playlists for every stage. What's a writing day look like for you? I mean, do you get up in the morning and just plunge in or what?
I do like to write in the morning. I like to make like a little drink depending on the weather outside. I'll either do hot or cold. And a lot of times I like to actually sit on our back deck. And I'll usually have one earbud in so I can listen to music, but also the other ear is free so I can like kind of listen to the birds and nature and stuff. And it's just sort of a good balance for me. But I would say I get most of my ideas in the morning, but I think a lot of my ideas come when I'm getting ready to go to sleep. So I usually end up writing at all times, just whenever it strikes.
And then do you plot out what you're going to write, or do you tend to just let the ideas flow as you're listening to the music and progressing? Would you call yourself a pantser or a planner?
I think I'm more of a planner. I do like to have everything kind of at least almost like a storyboard. I usually like to do like a storyboard and then write kind of based in that or within that, I should say. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, one last question, Heather. What next? Are you working on a new book, or are you revising this book, or what can we look forward to seeing from you next?
A little bit of everything. So I currently, this book, I have a screenplay already written, but we're reworking it a little bit. So the idea is to kind of turn this one into a limited series for like a streamer like Netflix or whatever. So that's kind of what we're working on right now. I do have 2 or 3 other books in the works, not related to this one. They'll be totally different. They might even be completely different genres. Like one is a kid's book idea I have, so that'll be completely different from this. And then another one's a little bit of a thriller still, but all of these things are in the works at the moment in very early stages. So
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens next. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, Heather.
Thank you both. I appreciate it.
Bye for now. Just a few parting words. Of course, I've got to talk about the cruise because at this point, it's barely more than a month away. It's March 7th through the 15th. Lara, you've been on several of these now. What's your favorite part of the cruise? The WriterCon cruise.
The WriterCon cruise. Well, I obviously getting to meet a fantastic group of people and work with them one-on-one individually.
That really
so much
is the
fun.
best
But also, I need to start packing because we might have nights that we want to dress for dinner. And I'm super excited that we are going on a tropical 8-day cruise again to the Eastern Caribbean this time. We're going to see some places we've never seen before, stopping in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico and the Bahamas. And I can't wait. I'm hopeful that we'll see some wildlife from the boat. Maybe we'll get to see some fun things when we dock. And of course, we'll be working on manuscripts. So we work hard, we play hard, we have a fantastic time. And usually the groups of people who come together on these cruises stay connected and become best supporters and cheerleaders. So it not only do you have the benefit of the cruise, but it's something that you carry away with you as well. And it helps you in the future.
Very well put. We fly in and out of Fort Lauderdale, March 7th through the 15th. Over 20 hours of writing instruction from Lara. Betsy Kulikowski, got an onboard agent, Catherine Sands, who's willing to talk to each and every one of you. Great scenery and a great time, so don't miss out, all right? For more information or to register, visit the WriterCon site, which of course is www.writercon.com. All right. Hope to see you on board. Until next time, keep writing. And remember, you cannot fail if you refuse to quit. All right. See you next time.